So, right.
It's just I add in one extra entry for master and that's about it. Alright, thanks bro. Cheers, bye bye. I'll come and find you later. Testing, mic test, 1, 2, mic test, 1, 2. Mic test, 1, 2, mic test, 1, 2. A bit lower will be better. Drop volume by another 10% over here. Testing, mic test, 1, 2. Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the LYL International Karting Circuit. Please take note that the driver's registration is now currently ongoing at the second floor at the registrations office. And for those who have not taken your driver's photo, please do so as well at the media room next to the registration room. So I repeat, for those who have not done your driver's entry signing in, please do so at level 2 of the main building. And for those who have yet to take your individual driver's portrait, you can do so next to the registration room. And you can just bring your suit over, just a reminder to bring your suit and your helmet. And that will be all. The practice will begin at 10:30 a.m. And good luck to everyone here today. That is perfect. That audio is perfect.
Kau dah apa Adam tu? Ni dia kata ni dia bonggol.
Test. Okay.
Bukan gym.
Hello, 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 hello. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3.
The button to off on here. The red button.
Testing, mic test, 1, 2. A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is an announcement for vehicles number PHA 2222, vehicle number VZB 2122, vehicle number VAN 9220, vehicle number QRQ51, vehicle number SNA 447 Zebra, vehicle number FE8793, vehicle number WTP707. Please kindly remove your vehicles and park at the appropriate parking lots. Otherwise, we receive an instruction from the stewards and the officials that these vehicles are in the way of emergency exit lanes for the ambulance, and the practice session will not start until these vehicles are removed because they are a safety hazard. I repeat, vehicle number PHA 2222, vehicle number VZB 2122, vehicle number VAN 9220, vehicle number QRQ51, vehicle number SNA 447 Zebra, vehicle number vehicle number FE8793, vehicle number WTP707. Please kindly remove your vehicles and park at the appropriate and designated parking lots. Thank you.
yang Camp 5 dengan Camp 1 yang pakai DJI, bateri masih okey lah. Saya tengok dia tak pakai bateri ke tidak. 5 dengan Camp 1. Boleh makan banyak ke atau masih kuat? Ini ada power boleh kuat sikit dah. Camp 5 ni, Camp 5 dia off ke? Oh, dia jangan jalan keluar gelap kan. Okey. Ingat charger kau kat belakang Camp 2 respon tu bateri DJI tu dua tekan bateri tu indikator berapa bar. Penuh lagi. Cantik. Kalau penuh lagi, kita nak tahu dia dah berapa kali, kita nak tahu berapa. Kalau dia lambat drop tu mana dia okey lah. Lambat drop. Penuh lagi. Penuh lagi. Check dengan kamera juga receiver kau, DJI tu bateri dia. Ingat dia kalau tinggal 1 bar atau 2 bar akan hilang sikit. Okey, buat masa sekarang kita maintain 5M1 ni saya tengok sebab mungkin 5 ni dia punya apa RF dia ke DJI dia kuat kan. Nampak dia steady as ni. Untuk RF DJI Cam 2 dekat sini ni. Thank you. Buat masa sekarang saya tengok stable. Tengok Cam 1 punya pun Cam 5 pun okey, gambar tak ada hilang lagi. Saya tengok Cam 5 dia boleh terima lah 140 meter kan, sebab dia DJI tu mungkin baru lagi. Dia ada transmitter, dia ada antena dia. Dia kuat lah. Bos dekat kejap lagi kalau barang sampai DJI satu lagi kita tukar untuk pantry nanti kita tukar untuk pantry. Kita tunggu barang sampai lah, boleh kan dia dah order kat, dia dah beli kat sini kalau sampai lagi ni kan kita tukar lagi ni. Dia ambil pakai DJI baru lah senang. Cameraman 3 dia RF dia lah, nanti dia barang sampai kita tukarkan dia punya RF. Bos dah beli RF baru. Bos beli satu lagi DJI. Kita tukar kameraman baru lah sekarang ni. Sebagai gambar hilang. boleh ke betai dulu bang, ke betai. Boleh ke betai dulu, ke betai. Boleh ke betai. Ke betai dulu, ke betai. Coming. Hey, hantar dekat camp 5. Camp 4. Betai nampak. Lebih kampus. Sekarang lagi ya. Okey.
And as mentioned, continuing to work with the youth. In Las Vegas. All right, ready to go. UFC 29 is underway. Amabayev is in black. Osborne counters in white.
Straight away with the low kick from Amabayev.
Eighth UFC appearance for the Southpaw Ode Osborne. Came off season 4 of Dana White's Contender Series.
game 2. Dari pandangan apa nampak okey lagi tu nampak. Boleh berdiri elok juga. Gambar tu dia sikit. Game 3 ada ke tak ada tu? Game 3 tu ada ke tak ada lagi tu? Dia orang tengok. Tak ada. Saya yang tu nak buang tu habis tu. Buat pasal tu. Kita dah kita dah. Lepas tu tu. Tanam pokok esok aku pergi ambil kat rumah dia lah. Dia buat ni, buat pasu, buat tanam bunga. Saya tu, bijak kreatif ada DIY. Gambar ada, siap video. Rasanya, bos cakap dia tak nampak clear lagi. Okey, biar dia. Okey, dapat. Nampak apa maklum. Pagi dia dulu. Ganjilin. Beras tengah tak boleh. Nanti kita tukarkan kabel acur dia. Turun bawah yang kabel ni kita tukar acurnya acur dia. Kena acur ni. Okey. Tiba dah nak atas ke masih kat bawah ni? Okey, kemuan nak off kamera kejap
Hello, hello. Okay, okay. Please sign up one by one. Please queue the line. Hey, queue.
Sekarang dia break, kita boleh tukar skill di kita.
How many drivers in your category? It's less than as warm as this, basically. Well, I wouldn't say that warm, but getting there. Sorry? Oh yeah, evening's good. Yeah. It's just that it's too humid over there. The humidity kills.
Entry pun boleh save battery. Break dia 12.5 volt sekarang. Entry pun boleh save dulu lah.
Baik, baik.
Fahad boleh baring-baring dulu kat atas bukit.
Hello, guys. Please, if you have not signed the attendance list, please do so now, because we will close off the attendance list. No, bring it over here, in that case.
23, you want me to ask people who are late, if they are late, to stand to one side so you can talk to them?
No, the doctor already said okay.
Yeah, doctor, okay.
23 and 95.
That doesn't matter. We'll pull them up.
Given may not raise. He said the car is damaged.
I know the one that crashed. Okay, guys, please. We're going to start the driver's briefing now. Come on. Quick. What are you? What are you? Which side?
Two more. Once you start, I'm going to put people over here. 3 more.
Senior, go sign out there. Senior, go and sign there. Okay, I'm going to close the door already.
Yep. Anyone else, I'll put over here.
Huh? It's okay.
Anyone else, I'll put over here.
Just announce it. That's all. Normally, when the cup civil,
I'll move anyone else over here for you.
all right. Okay. Have you all finished, Senior? Nana, if they are finished, bring the form. All right, guys, welcome to round 2 of the IAME race. Now, before we begin, let me introduce you to the key personnel. With me is Americo, who's the race director, and the steward, chief steward, is Dr. Malik. Second steward is Kunir. They are the same steward at the last round, so they know who are the naughty boys in the first round, okay? Dr. CMO, Dr. Anin, and Nash, Dr. Nash, all right? I don't need to introduce myself, all of you know me, okay? So, who else? The guy who's going to check your card will be Neil, all right? Okay? So, hang on tight.
Okay, good morning, guys. This is your track layer. Some information about yellow line, start and finish line, pit exit, pit entry, red line, and 2x2 board. And you see some cones around the track. Okay, I don't mention again, this is our race officials. And please, I will always show the respect of the race officials and their decision, understanding that I retain my rights of protest. If I do cause the contest or discuss decision, incident, or penalty with the race official, I will do a respectful manner. Show not agree with race official. Decision wrong. Respect. This is a message from stewards. Race control is no-go zone unless you have been called. Message from scrutineering. Licensed entrant drivers, only people allowed to any meetings in drivers' stewards. When mechanics per riders. Scrutineering. This is not allowed. Okay. Also, I have some notes from no scooters, no bikes on circuit, no cameras. Before I saw some GoPro in the helmet, but until now, no. 2 wheels, track limits is accept, but 4 wheels is not accept. When you enter during the track qualifying, please ensure to leave the pits already safety and not impede drivers anytime on track. Attempt to restart during the heat or final 1 attempt only. This is on the service part, not attempt to refit your bumper. Okay. You have been watching here because we have many cameras. Hard but fair respect. Black flag is possibility. This is the FIA body protection. This is a timetable for cadet, junior, and senior masters. This way is for the pit entry. This way is cut on track. Beware, do not cross the white line because it's dangerous for you and for others.
Look, guys, if you intend to come into the pit, if you intend to come into the pit area, please do not go past, way back, past that white line and then suddenly turn in. Now, this is going to create a lot of problem for the drivers who are following behind. Give a clear indication. Put up your hand that you are going into the pit. So follow that way. So we do not want an accident to happen at the corner, all right? Okay, understand or not?
Otherwise, stewards will get you a discussion. This is a fast lane. This is when you stop for barrier. And speeding, we will report. This is the pit exit. Beware, cars on track, this side. Okay, keep left when you leave. This is another view for camera. Where we are cars coming. Okay. On qualifying, 10 minutes time trial, one section. Do not impede other drivers. If you stop in the repair area, it means finish.
Okay. Finish. Okay. Start go.
Yeah. One formation under yellow flags, no shortcuts. Plenty of time get hit tires and settle for the perfect start. Restrict tire warming, be careful. Unnecessary overtaking during the formation, 10 seconds penalty. Before the red line, you can get your place, but after, you cannot. Do not cross the corridor, the tram lines. If you're crossing, we get a penalty. Here is partial out, 3 seconds, and fully out, 10 seconds. Be careful, 10 seconds. 4 lights, you still remain extra formation. We give you an extra yellow flag in marshal post 1 and 2. In case of neutralization, we show a slow bar and yellow flag, single line behind the leader. Leader control the speed. Tie formation, no overtaking. When next lap restart, stationary, yellow flag. Then steady pace. Do not accelerate too early. Main straight, approaching the yellow line is correct. No overtaking before the start and finish line. This I accept, but this with cross I do not accept. Okay, yellow zone. Incident before, marshal post, yellow flag. And after the incident, green flag. Yellow flag and green flag between is yellow zone. No overtaking. Yellow flag, you need to slow down, change direction, or stop. No overtaking. And after passing, green flag, okay? Red flag. In case needed, I will show red flag. No overtaking is bidden. Stop, the place will be start and finish line.
Or to the paddock.
Or to the paddock.
Or
Confirm?
to where the starting grid is, the dummy grid is. It all depends. If it's raining and we are stopping you because of wet condition and you need to change tires, we will put you back, not on the main grid, but coming back to the paddock area where you can change your tires. But if it's for other incident, which we will start back immediately, it will be on the main grid. All right? Understand? Any question?
Okay. Look like this. The other flags will be shown on start and finish line. Okay. If you rejoin, look and give away. We have some cones in the.
Yeah, I'll explain the concept.
You explain.
Yeah. Without the
Okay. And after checker flag, race is over, slow down, continue another lap, return to platform A. Front fairing. This is not accept. And cameras also. So, hard but fair. Give respect and racing room to fellow drivers. Questions? This is a brief note. You can scan it.
Okay, right. Now, if you notice that we have some incidents over the practice as well as yesterday. So, if you look at the place where over the bridge, okay, over the bridge, as you turn up in going up to the bridge, there are 2 cones on your right. Yesterday, that driver went out of track limit, hit the tire wall and flipped. Okay? That should not have happened because he went out of the track limit trying to overtake somebody. And it's only practice, not even a race. Hello? That's why I said karters, the moment they get into the kart, all their brains is on the foot. Not. Please, practice for you to test and all that, not to create an accident like that. So we have put a cone down there to tell you, avoid the cone. Now, as you enter into the tunnel, there is also another 2 cones down there. Please, if you hit the cone, you are completely out of your line. You are going to crash into the wall. All right? So please, we have cameras there now. We will watch you. All right? You'll be penalized. Now, very quick one on the technical issues. There is an ASR2 which has been issued. As you all know, all bumpers are to be removed before entering into the start service park. The start service park now is where your old dummy grid used to be. So we have created that area to be the start service park. Your dummy grid will be on the pit lane. The marshals will be there to get you to line up at that place. So prior to entering the start service park, your bumpers must be off and you fit your bumpers in the start service park. This rule has already been in the supplementary regulation, but nobody read it, and it's also our fault that we have not actually implemented it very strongly. So we are doing it now. And this rule will continue even up to Thailand for this whole year. So please remember this. There would be random tire scanning to make sure that you're using the correct tires. Now, we will also conduct, once you are in the start service park, the rear tire measurement. We have the tool and we will be checking it. For you who do not know, it's 1100 for cadet, 1400 for juniors and seniors. Max, that is max, all right? Now, bumpers, rear bumpers, we are going to look at it very carefully. Now, only the bumpers for the junior and senior that are adjustable will be allowed to use. However, I know that some of you may not have the new bumpers. You may still have the old bumpers, which is non-adjustable. Please remember that we will allow you to use the rear bumper. However, your wheel length must be covered by the bumper. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? So it is for your interest that you must know this. Because I don't want you guys to come out and say, oh, I'm disqualified because of this and all that. Well, we are telling you now. Yes, flush with the tires. Yeah, must be. Exception is for the cadets because there's no adjustable rear bumpers, okay? So they have to meet the 1100 rule. Who does not understand this rule? Please, ask now. Because we are not going to entertain, I do not know, this. All right? Now, the use of an external starter will be allowed if your system, a mechanical failure or electrical problem prevents it from starting. Then we will allow you to use an external starter. If not, you have to use your onboard starter, okay? Please note that. In the event of rain, now, only IAME wet box will be allowed. We don't want to see big pail, this and that covering the airbox. Only senior and junior, right, okay. Thank you. Yes, there's no modification. You use it as it is. But only IAME airbox. If you don't have, plenty in stock, please buy. Right? Okay? Now, for the cadet, the use of an exhaust temperature sensor is now allowed. Okay, so if they need to have that, no issue. Any question on this, please, before we close? No? Very good. Okay. Anything else?
Just a quick message before you all disappear. The following 4 drivers need to return back to the registration office. So that is number 25, number 112, 166, and 190. So those 4 drivers need to return to the registration office after driver's briefing. 25, 112, 166, and 190. Those 4 drivers need to return back to the registration office to fill in your signatures.
Thanks, guys. Okay.
Thank you very much. selling a very expensive microphone as well. That's very important too. Because if it's a bucket, I don't need. Oops, you're going to show me.
History. How do you want to see the history? Apps. History. Hold on, Wait, under history. Profile. Don't have history. Under manage app and device, is it? Oh, payment. The only other payment method, subscription. Yeah. They have only Google one. That one, yeah, of course, I subscribe one. They didn't say anything, but every month they deduct from me lah. This one is next payment is this. They don't have any. RM8.49. How do you want to see the history, kejap? Payment method, is it? Oh, budget and history. Okay. What date is that? March. Only have 11 March.
Did you change the 90 days, sir?
Sorry?
So on the top.
On the top?
On the top you can see the 90 days. 30 days or 60 days, 90 days.
No, they said your budget apply account and you can change anytime. No, didn't say anything. They only say April is on 11 April.
I think we never changed to the 90 days. Then you can able to see the March one.
March one? Yeah, I see the March one, but only March is on the 11 March. They charge me.
11 March,
Correct. No, don't have. Don't have.
You need to change the days from 90 days. At the moment it's total how many days, sir? On the top you can see.
You only per month. Monthly.
What I mean, the history on the top you can see, you can change the 30 days, 60 days, the history of the days.
The history, yeah?
I think you're checking on the 30 days one.
How do you want to change the history? Go to budget and then change what? Set budget, is it? No.
You need to change the days to 90 days one.
I know. Where should I change? On the setting, is it?
That is your system settings, sir.
Okay, fine. Let me check. Manage my Google account. Hold on. Check 90 days. But the thing is, yeah, in the Google they charge me RM8 on the 11 March. But in the my bill phone bill, they charge me 15 and 13, right?
receiver, receiver.
Cam 1, Cam 2, Cam 3, Cam 4.
Cadet and Senior and Master categories in the pinnacle of X30 racing in Asia. It's going to be a really exciting battle for all of the contenders as they get themselves up ready for the showcase. The time trial qualifying session should be perfectly bone dry. We're not predicted to have any rain over the course of the weekend now until 3 p.m. tomorrow, which is conveniently just after the finals. So it should be an absolute bone dry weekend all the way. Of course, this is Malaysia, and as we know here, the weather can change very quickly indeed. But so far, our radars tell us that we should be able to dodge a raindrop or two here and there. Hello everybody, Jake Sanson with you once again for this 2025 season campaign. Our season opener back in February on this circuit was very thrilling in all three categories. We had a fantastic charge to the victory. And this time around, we've got some new faces in all three categories as more drivers have joined the brigade from across the entirety of the Asian and Australasian Peninsula. We've got drivers from far and wide competing in this weekend's competition. And for the second time in 2025, we're about to go to the time trial qualifying sessions. It should be a really entertaining one, this. Practice, both unofficial and official, over the last 24 hours have given all of the contenders. I think we should see a very close run, particularly in the competition for the time trial. The pole position is going to be very hard to compete for. But we'll see some very close times after what we saw in the practice earlier today. Expect even more than that. There's a few more faces that have joined the fray as well in the junior category. There's going to be one particular name that's been very strong in X30 across the junior categories over the last 24 months, joining the junior brigade, and that is the Italian driver Andrea Galimberti, who had a fantastic time in China, battling for the top spot, and now he's come over to the Asian Series as part of the DRM racing team based out here in Malaysia. So he joins the team for this round of the championship. The other different name that you're going to get in the junior category is Kaweng Lee, who joins from the Momentum racing team. Momentum are, of course, here and famous for being here on a regular occasion as the providers of all the race gear and all of the helmets and boots and inliners and all of the various memorabilia that the drivers and fans can buy over the course of the weekend. They're here in Garage 6, of course, and they're also in next door's garage with their two young drivers, Kaweng and Carson Lee, who are making their debuts in INFINITY IAME Series Asia in Junior and Cadet. The drivers venture out. There's INF1NITY in the fantastic gold Sodi that he'll be running in. We've also got a gold livery for INF1NITY. And out onto the circuit in the white Momentum colours goes the newest face in the category, the 112, that is Kaweng Lee, the 12-year-old. So the racers venturing out onto the course to start their journey. There is the 125, straight out onto the circuit to acquit himself. That is, the 125, that is Lilu Freihuber, in fact. So two karts out on the course then in gold trim, I do believe. So we're going to see some really exciting rounds. That is the 135, that is Najol Ijipanya for the Drive WK Motorsport. And now the rest of the juniors venturing out onto the circuit. The gold 199, that is Esteban Freihuber. The regular Sodi kart colours of Lilu Freihuber in the 125. But there's a gold trim for Esteban Freihuber. He clearly feels particularly shiny this weekend. Out on the circuit goes the 166. That is the jet black machine of the Japanese racer Sera Kojima. And she is definitely one to watch out for pole position. Was very quick in round one and certainly a contender for the pole position this time as well. As heading out onto the circuit, that is the 190 in the Ital course machine. That is the kart belonging to Leonardo Mori for the 7 racing team in the Ital course machine. Venturing out onto the course as well, the 142, that is the 29R from Singapore. That is the reigning championship leader, Danish Chen, who took the victory in the first final of the season. So it should be a really exciting challenge. But as the time is already starting to tick down, it's going to be a fascinating run for the contenders at this point. So into the junior time trial we go then. Plenty of drivers in contention for the top spot. And they're a slightly different configuration of the circuit this time as well. So this time we've got a slightly different lap time position. And it's going to be a faster lap time because instead of having the S's that we've got leading up to the flyover, they're actually going to go flat on the throttle through that sequence of right-handers and then try and carry as much speed through the right-hander that leads to the underpass as humanly possible. Not easy to predict how well the drivers are going to take onto it, but it's certainly an exciting start to proceedings for the juniors as they try to find their feet in terms of fast lap times. Only 10 minutes for each session. Junior time trial first, then the cadets, and then the seniors and masters out together. The ball has been set rolling already by Michael Lederer, a 105.878 to go to the top spot. And now Nadalimjit Panya has gone quicker, 105.341. So straight up to the top spot already for the Drive WK driver on the CRG. So it'll be an interesting start to proceedings there. So the contenders certainly giving us plenty to be starting with. Esteban Freihuber now going up to the top for the City Kart Racing Philippines squad. A 105.051, only slightly quicker than Kevin Sibavanichinon. And up to the top spot comes Conrad Garrow, only a whisker quicker than Sera Kojima. So Sera Kojima only just managing to lose out there. Mika Slabbert starting well as well, a 104.589. Only a few hundredths of a second then between the top three. Conrad Garrow, Seara Kojima and Mika Slabbert. So Conrad Garrow, of course, this year doing it a very different way in 2025, running in his own team. It's a privateer outfit under the banner of Rad Racing. And top spot goes Jack Larson. Jack Larson in the Miralat Asia car has gone up to the top spot. Great performance from him in round one as a new boy to the world of Infinity Asia. And Jack Larson goes top on a 104.0, just a shy quicker than Andrea Galimberti, who's come straight out of the blocks on a 104.162. So already a good start to proceedings. Kevin Supavanichinon goes third now on a 104.485 ahead of Conrad Garrow, Danish Chen, Seara Kojima, Mika Slabbert and Esteban Freihuber ahead of Max Tsur and Adam Venice. So some good performances all the way. And up to the top spot comes Mika Slabbert, 103.985, a hundredth of a second quicker than Conrad Garrow on a 103.995, Seara Kojima on 103.999. There's hundredths of a second in it now for pole position. But Mika Slabbert has gone quickest on a 103.985, 100th of a second quicker than Conrad Garrow. Here comes Danish Chen though. Danish Chen will come across the line. There could be a very fast time in the opening. He goes top now, 103.934. Jack Larson goes quicker again, 103.865 for Jack Larson. And Andrea Galimberti finds 4/10 more. Wow, great run from the Italian. So Andrea Galimberti into the first position ahead of Jack Larson and Danish Chen. Then Slabbert, Garrow, Kojima, Mori, Kian Shah, Kevin Supavanichinon and Esteban Freihuber. A great start to proceedings already then, as the 19 drivers are finding their feet. 103.44 to beat now for Andrea Galimberti's time. A few more drivers trying to get to that point. A couple of drivers still trying to find their feet there, all the way down to Isaac Ramses Saeed on a 106.0. Very close run thing at the moment. And still young Karweng Lee doing his best to move his way forward on a 110.7 at the moment. Still pace to find, but that's what this sport is all about, developing as you run. So Galimberti, Larson, Chen, Slabbert, Garrow, Kojima and Leonardo Mori. Quicker from Jack Larson, does a 103.5. So that's only a hundredth of a second off the pace of Andrea Galimberti or so. Danish Chen remains third ahead of Mika Slabbert. But Conrad Garrow is there in the top five ahead of Seara Kojima. Max Tsur moves up on a 104.821. Michael Lederer and Felix Holtze-Yen are only a 10th of a second apart nowadays. So great to see their speed for the Fireball team. Though they could do with finding a little bit more pace compared to the others. So Andrea Galimberti holds provisional pole in the junior time trial. Now the two Fireballs go together as Felix Holtze-Yen and Michael Lederer are trying to find a bit more pace. But Mika Slabbert ahead of Conrad Garrow and Seara Kojima. Kian Shah's done a good job, the Indian driver, 7th at the moment on a 104.1. Ahead of Mori, Supavanichinon and Esteban Freihuber. For some reason, the Fireball team are just not really finding one lap pace here. Can't quite figure out where their pace has disappeared. They were very quick in round one. And the Fireball boys are now on a 105.7 and a 105.8. So they need to find another 2 seconds, really, to get close to the mark of the top three. Hopefully they'll get their chance now as across the line comes the 133. That's Max Tsur, along with his teammate Adam Venice. They're just trying to scrape into the top 10 as Dilo Freihuber gets a 105.259, a fraction off the pace of Isaac Ramses Saeed. Side by side, the 112 picking up the pace. That is Karweng Lee on a 110.1 now. Ducking under 110 will be a good target to achieve there for the Momentum Racing Team driver. 45 seconds on the clock, and I don't think anyone's going to get past Andrea Galimberti's time now of a 103.4. I think the tyres have really had their best of the session, but Galimberti has made good work of it on his Infinity IAME Series Asia debut. It looks like he's going to go pole position. So Andrea Galimberti, after his fantastic run in Shanghai in the IAME China Series for Pantano, now switching across to DRM racing this weekend for the Paralin, and is quicker than anybody. Jack Larson second, Danish Chen in third, and Mika Slabbert, easily the most improved driver of the week so far. Fourth position, a whisker quicker than Conrad Garrow, and ahead of Seara Kojima. And with 3, 2, 1, that is time, and Andrea Galimberti holds the top spot. Jack Larson second from Danish Chen, Mika Slabbert and Conrad Garrow. A very competitive junior time trial this time. Checkered flag is out on the course. 122 Supavanichinon for CRG Thailand goes across the line. with no improvement. I don't think you're going to see much improvement from the drivers now. But the drivers will try and find that little bit extra pace. Michael Lederer gets a 105.6, but the Fireball team are going to be going back to their awnings, scratching their heads, wondering where the pace has gone, because that is not the kind of pace we expected to see from the Fireball team at all. But Andrea Galimberti, on his debut in INFINITY IAME Series Asia and his first ever race ahead of Mika Slabbert. They'll be really happy with that down at Stratos in 4th position, ahead of Conrad Garro and Sero Kojima. 7th place for Leonardo Mori, a great improvement for the Malaysian. Then 8th place for Kian Shah, good run from the Indian driver. Kevin Subavanichian on in P9, ahead of Adam Venice and Esteban Freihuber. Max Tser ahead of Ryan Wafai, and then Nadalim Japania, Lilu Freihuber. Isaac Ramses Said, then Michael Lederer and Felix Holtzien, with Korwang Lee in 19th position. But there's some big surprises there after the junior time trial. Fireball well off the pace. Good performances, particularly from Mika Slabbert and Leonardo Mori, right up there in the hunt. Danish Chen 3rd, Jack Larson 2nd, and on his debut in the junior time trial qualifying, it's the Italian Andrea Galimberti who goes top spot for DRM Racing. Well, a great start then to his Asian campaign. He was very strong in China. Now he's strong here in the INFINITY IAME Series Asia Championship. Right out of the blocks goes the Italian and on to pole position for Heat 1 and Heat 2. So here's your provisional result then. Andrea Galimberti on the top spot ahead of Jack Larson, Danish Chen and Mika Slabbert. Good run. Conrad Garro P5. Then Sero Kojima, the Japanese racer, is 6th. She's ahead of Leonardo Mori and Kian Shah. Kevin Subavanichian and Adam Venisiman in the top 10 positions. 11th place for Esteban Freihuber in front of Max Tser. Then Ryan Wafai, Nadalim Jitpanya, Lilu Freihuber, Isaac Ramses Said, Michael Lederer, Felix Holtzien. And at the back, it is actually Korwang Lee, although for some reason the name of Felix Holtzien is listed twice. But it is actually Korwang Lee for Momentum Racing, who is in the 112 in 19th. So a good run so far then in the junior time trial. In just a few minutes' time, we'll get ourselves underway for the cadets. Ten minutes on the clock once again then as the cadets venture out onto the course, and this time we've got 23 drivers on the starting grid. We should have 24, but there's one withdrawal, unfortunately, after practice. That is Libin Luis Canan, who had an accident in the practice session this morning. Unfortunately, he's perfectly okay with a couple of knocks and bruises, but the cart is bent well out of shape, and so unfortunately he will not be taking any further part in the weekend. That's a real shame because the practice times were looking pretty promising for young Libin Luis Canan, but fortunately the main thing is that he's perfectly okay. So he is an unfortunate spectator, but at least he is Libin Luis Canan shaped. That's the important thing. So the 23 remaining drivers head out onto the circuit. We've got quite a few new faces this time. Plenty of the drivers contingent that have come over from China, having had their fantastic run in Shanghai a few weeks ago. A lot of the drivers have decided they want to take part in the Asian Series, including the Force Racing teammates Austin Lowe and Nick Zhang, along with the Mars Racing team youngster Liu Jinyu. And we've also got the talented Marshall Liu, who's come over from the Chinese Series, based out of Guangzhou. So it'll be fascinating to see how the battle continues. But the contenders that we are used to seeing are venturing out onto the circuit as well. There's the 28 going out. That's Lennon Barchi, the youngster from Sri Lanka, based out of Haraspara in Dodondua. He is actually the oldest of the drivers, I believe, in the cadet category. Not long before he steps up into the world of junior, I'm sure. But with the 10 minutes the drivers have at their disposal, you don't have a lot of time to fool around with. You've got to make sure you get out there and put a decent time under your belt. So the contenders already going out there. Nick Zhang, currently on the top spot, by virtue of the fact that he was the first one to complete the timing beacon. Got a few other new faces in the mix there as well. Carson Choi joining the team, joining the fray, as well as Aaron Akil for the HBGP Racing Squad. So plenty of new faces, as well as young Carson Lee for the Momentum Racing team. He is the younger brother of Kareng, of course, and so he will get his chance racing in cadet for the first time in 2025. The drivers venturing out onto the course en masse then. The big contenders, the likes of Posh Kong Chol, Max Schilling, the 33 in the mix there of Liu Yujuan, Hiro and Oliver Tse, the two brothers who this weekend are not actually in Grand Victoria Racing colours, the red and orange and yellow livery that we're used to seeing. They've gone back to the normal DRM Racing team colours, which are very much loosely based on the Paralin manufacturer colours. Apparently they'll return to their Grand Victoria colours for round 3 of the championship in May. So plenty of good battles out on the course in cadet. Last time out we saw a battle that went right the way down to the final lap of the race weekend, with plenty of drivers having a sensational race of it. So now we're going to get to see what sort of lap times the drivers will give us in the cadet time trial category. For the record, Arav Sureka has currently gone the top spot. The Indian driver from Mumbai doing a good job at the moment as he acquits himself in his first weekend in the INF1NITY IAME Series Asia Championship. Carson Choi in second, Zhang Zhizhuan is third, and that's a spin. We've had a spin out on the course, that's the 86. One of the newest faces, that's Shabil Basalama, who's got himself up to speed again. So Shabil Umar Basalama having a little bit of a spin there. He's one of the newest faces in the DRM Racing team, which is based here in Malaysia. So the competition is set to be a particularly exciting one. The drivers still getting up to speed. We're still waiting for the regular runners to go up on the far side. Bebe is doing a good job. That's Nutsarang Rangwastanakul, the Thai youngster, still only in her first ever season of racing in any form of karting. This is her 4th race weekend as a cadet driver, and she put on some fantastic speed last time out in the first round of the championship back in February, so it'll be exciting to see what she can do this time. Up to the top spot then comes Nick Zhang for the Force Racing team, a 1:12.395. Still waiting for the bulk of the field to put their lap time down. And we'll get to see them in fine style over the course, I'm sure. But a lot of great contenders in this cadet field. So Nick Zhang has the pace, out of Sureka in second. Alice Lowe doing a fair job at the moment in 3rd position. So Alice Lowe, one of the contenders who's making big waves in this field. Well, there's a few more faces that have joined the fray this time as well, including the young Australian talent Jake Ostecki for the Biralat Racing Asia team, newest member of the squad. And he's definitely one to watch out for. He's been knocking on the door of the top 5 all week long in practice. So could definitely be one to watch. And up to the top spot he goes on a 1:12.006. Straight away goes top spot. Mason Kwong goes quicker still, though, on a 1:11.227. Hiro Tse on a 1:11.506. Jake Kostecki, third place. Then it is the number one contender, that is Austin Lowe. So Austin Lowe in front of Max Schilling. And then it is Oliver Tse in front of Nick Zhang. And then Marshall Liu in front of Patapol Kaukanjanaset from Shabal Umar Basalama and Arif Sureika. So Mason Kwong finding early pace then as he puts his kart into a 1:11.2. Excellent work from the contenders so far. We'll see if there's anything more from the drivers around them, but certainly Mason Kwong getting out of the blocks nice and early on a 1:11.227. Hiro Tse on a 1:11.5. And Jake Kostecki, best of the rest, on a 1:12.0 at the moment in third place. Only two drivers actually cracking the 72-second mark for the lap at the moment. But I've got a feeling there's a few more decent lap times to come. A lot of the drivers will be together en masse in a bulk position. But there is about a second covering the top five at the moment. That's going to change as drivers go across the line and we get some more decent lap times. Posh Kong Chol, a 1:11.496 for Mr. Posh. Jake Kostecki gets a 1:11.675. That's pretty good. Max Schilling on a 1:11.7 ahead of Marshall Liu and Patapol Kaukanjanaset. Liu Jinyu in 8th place in front of Nutsurang. Nutsurang Bangwastanakul doing a great job. 9th at the moment ahead of Oliver Tse, Nick Zhang and Austin Lowe. Not a bad run either for the 86. That is the very talented Shabal Omar Basalama. So some good performances all around then in Cadet, and it's certainly looking a lot more competitive than I even assumed it would be. A lot of drivers hitting the 1:11s now. Mason Kwong on a 1:11.2, all the way down to Nick Zhang on a 1:11.994. That is 11 drivers covered by 0.7 of a second. So some good pace and some good performances so far. Just under 3 minutes to go in the session then, but Mason Kwong looking very hungry for it. Hiro Tse in second, Posh Kong Chol third in front of Jake Kostecki, Max Schilling, and then it is Marshall Liu in front of Patapol Kaukanjanaset, who is currently running in P6 in front of Liu Jinyu. And in 9th position is Nutsurang Rangwastanakul. So Babe right up in 9th position at the moment, only about 0.7 of a second away from the top spot. And that's a stoppage on the track. That is the 25 that's come to a stop. So that is Carson Lee. Carson Lee for the Momentum Racing team, unfortunately, has stopped his kart out on the circuit. That's in Sector 1, I do believe. So yes, indeed, that's at the hairpin at turn 5. So very unfortunate for Carson Lee. Not able to get a decent lap time on the board then. Got a 1:22.2 out of it, and I'm afraid, as he was getting up to speed, there was nothing left in the kart. So he has unfortunately had to start all of his races then, like his brother Carwin, will have to start the races from the back of the grid. That's unfortunate. 2 minutes to go then. Mason Kwong on a 1:11.227. He's gone quicker than his best, but nobody else has, as Hiro Tse has now gone second on a 1:11.45. Posh Kong Chol, Jake Kostecki, Max Schilling, then Marshall Liu, Patapol Kaukanjanaset. Oliver Tse's come up to 8th now, in front of Austin Lowe and Liu Jinyu. Then it's Nutsurang Rangwastanakul in front of Nick Zhang. The 86 going well. That's in 13th. That is Shabal Omar Basalama from Carson Choi, Kaylin Delsey, Arif Sureika and Alice Lowe from Chongkahe, and then Joshua Tan, Saif Zulkarnain, Lennon Barchi, Aaron Akil, and then the driver who spun off the road. That is unfortunately Carson Lee, who's had his moment and dropped off the road for the time being. 1 minute to go, and Hiro Tse's gone into the 1:11.3s. Mason Kwong has done a 1:11.0. Goodness me. A 1:11.099 for Mason Kwong. That's a very fast lap indeed from the 29, and flirting with a 1:10. So that is an amazing time for Mason Kwong. So much quicker than the riders around him. Hiro Tse, Posh Kong Chol, Jake Kostecki and Max Schilling. Then it is Austin Lowe, ahead of Marshall Liu, Patapol Kaukanjanaset. And then the top 10 is rounded out by Oliver Tse and Liu Jinyu. A very tall order at the moment as the drivers are trying to find that little bit of extra time out of the karts. It's a little bit of a traffic jam at the moment up over the top of the bridge. But there might be a few more drivers to find a little bit more pace in this one as everybody tries to get themselves out of harm's way. The last gaggle of karts to get a fast lap time in is going to have the 59 of Posh Kong Chol at the back of it. A few drivers will get another lap time in, but the checkered flag comes out for the 7. That is Liu Jinyu in the Carlos Sainz 55 chassis. Several drivers coming through to finish off. Oliver Tse and Austin Lowe have also finished, as has Nutsurang Rangwastanakul, 11th position. for the youngest in the field. Very impressive run. Mason Kwong still the top spot though, 1:11.09. And it doesn't look as though anybody's going to find any more from their tyres now. After the 10 minutes, it's a very hot circuit. They've got a decent run off the kart, but a very superb performance from Mason Kwong. Top spot, a 1:11.09 from Mason Kwong. Second place for Hiro Tse, third for Posh Kong Chol, and then fifth place for Max Schilling ahead of Austin Lowe, Marshall Liu, Patapol Kalkan Jadaset, Oliver Tse and Liu Jinyu in the top 10. 9/10 of a second between them all. And going all the way back to Carson Choi, all the way back to Nick Zhang in 13th place. The whole field there, top 13 covered by less than a second. So some good performances from the drivers who are just finishing off their times, trying to see if there's one final flying lap in the mix. As Posh Kong Chol finds a 1:11.34 right at the death there to go second with his final qualifying lap to edge out Hiro Tse. So what a battle we're going to have then in the cadets, as on the front row of the grid it's going to be Mason Kwong and Posh Kong Chol. So Hong Kong versus Thailand right out of the blocks then here in the IAME Series Asia. And a fantastic start to the weekend then for the cadets, a really close battle in qualifying. So at the top spot then it is Mason Kwong on a 1:11.099. He gets the pole position for Heat 1 and Heat 2 in front of Mr. Posh, Posh Kong Chol. We'll go through the provisional results then of the cadet time trial, and it is Mason Kwong ahead of Posh Kong Chol. First and second, the gap between them though, almost a quarter of a second. So a great run then, Mason Kwong ahead of Posh Kong Chol, Hiro Tse in third place ahead of Jay Kostecki. Good performance from the Australian debutant. Max Schilling in the top 5 ahead of Austin Lowe and Marshall Liu. Then Patapol Kalkan Janaset in front of Oliver Tse and Liu Jinyu in the top 10 positions as they run in close proximity. Then it is young Nutsurang Brongwastanakul in 12th position. It is the very talented Shabal Amar Basalama. And then it is Nick Zhang in front of Carson Choi, Kalen Delcy ahead of Arav Soreka, Alice Lowe, Chung Ka-hei, Joshua Tan and Saif Zulkarnain. Then the last few drivers in the mix, Lennon Barchi is 21st ahead of Alan Akil. Carson Lee unfortunately spun off during his qualifying run, and there will be no lap time at all for Liban Lewis Kanan after his accident in practice that bent the kart. So the drivers do a fair job then in the cadet time trial, and it's going to be the two top dogs, Mason Kwong versus Posh Kong Chol, out of the blocks for the first heat of the weekend. Senior and Master will head out onto the circuit for their qualifying time trial in just a few moments. So the battle royale of LYL, the run for pole position in senior and master, and this is very difficult to predict. There are so many interesting factors coming into the senior this time. We've got the returning faces from round one, the likes of Yukapo, the man who took the victory in the final, the brothers Grimm, Toby and Austin Gale, who are going to be feisting their way through the field, of course. We've got some returning faces from the DRM brigade, of course. Reigning champion Kimi Chan and reigning junior champion Zariev Raikal, along with the regular contenders for the team, Mohamed Feroz Fezrel and Clifford Kanchanapis returning to the team as well for the second round after having missed the opening. But there's an interesting dynamic going into this weekend. Yukapo is back on the grid, but in a new kart. In the first round of the championship, the PR1 driver was on a Kart Republic chassis. Today, he is making history for the first time in the history of Asian karting. An interesting new original chassis straight out of the Asian community. The Explorer will be making its debut here this weekend. So Yukapo is not on a Kart Republic anymore. And oh, a spin during the warm-up run. So that is Ben Nagayan, who's had a little bit of a moment there. That's the young man from Vietnam, all the way from Ho Chi Minh City, formerly known, of course, as Saigon. But Ben Nagayan doing a fair job over the course of the practice sessions. He's trying to get himself up to speed in his first weekend in the championship. Well, there's a few returning faces that we're used to seeing in this particular category, and a lot of new faces as well. We'll see a lot of the contenders we're used to seeing towards the sharp end. And we'll see some great contenders trying to work their way forward from all across the continent. The likes of Miguel Quiñones, who's going to try and get himself up the sharp end for the Philippines. The top one motorsport youngster, 15 years of age, will want to be at the sharp end as well. Wadapong Aimwachan. And there's going to be contenders from all across the Asian Peninsula. Big contingency from Australia here as well for the Biralat Asia squad. A lot of big names from the squad. Kai Burke returning, along as well with the likes of Cooper Fish for Biralat Asia. And for 29R, the very talented Jaden Pope, who's been writing all sorts of records in Australian and New Zealand karting in X30 over the years, has had a very reasonable career in European racing as well. Coming over here for the very first time in Asian karting. It'll be very exciting to see what he can do. So an exciting battle as they continue, but it's going to be a really exciting run for the contenders. Megat Zulkarnain for FR Johor going to the top spot for the time being. But expect some really strong performances from the seniors as more drivers venture out onto the circuit, waiting for their moment to get out on track. As Melvin Shane goes top for the Stratos team. And the Gale brothers for the Biralat Asia squad head out onto the circuit under the tutelage of Andrea Tudisco. And now making their way out onto the circuit for the first time is a brand new chassis. Never mind a brand new kart. It is a brand new chassis to the world of Asian racing. The Explorer in its beautiful purple and pink livery. Yukapo is going out there to show that this new chassis that they've been working on for over 2 decades in this outfit is going to give us a really exciting new era for Asian karting. The newest real chassis that's come out of the blocks in the last few years for X30 has come from Giorgio Pantano's racing squad. This is the next new chassis in the mark, and the Explorer brand, they've got big plans for this. If they can go well in the hands of Yukapo, then the orders will come flying in. So for FR Racing Johor, it is the young 14-year-old Megat Zulkarnain who's gone to the top spot for the time being. Melvin Shane in second from the top one driver, Wadapong Aimwachan of Thailand. But we're waiting for the big guns to come through and put a decent lap time down on the board. Expect the times to get close to the 1 minute flat, but they're not quite going to break a minute. So we'll see what happens when the DRMs venture out onto the course. The Biralat Asia twins of Toby Gale and Austin Gale under the banner of MRC. Kimi Chan goes top. Here we go. Kimi Chan on a 103.215. Jaden Pope's gone quicker still. A 103.194 for the 29R driver from Australia. The 22-year-old Jaden Pope has gone top spot ahead of Kimi Chan and Zariev Raikal. And a great run from Wadapong Aimwachan, who's gone straight up to P4 for the top one team. So excellent work from the 15-year-old from Bangkok. An excellent performance. The driver's still putting on a good showing at the moment, but Jaden Pope from Oran Park in New South Wales getting up to the top spot. 22 years of age, in front of Kimi Chan and Zadia Vraikal, the two reigning champions in Infinity Series Asia, in senior and junior respectively, Jaden Pope and Yuka Pope.